This is the June 17th meeting of the Harwich Golf Committee. Welcome all. We have a quorum, and we have the Director of Golf with us. Let us begin our meeting, folks, with a Pledge of Allegiance, and I want to thank John McCaffrey for bringing a flag in so we have something to appropriately salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Thank you to each and every one of you for making the effort to be here. Our fifth member was unable to be here because of a conflict, and I did get an indication, I don't have a name yet, but a sixth appointee is coming on board. So whenever the next, whenever it's scheduled with the Board of Selectmen, they do have a candidate. I don't have a name, I don't know who it is, but we will welcome our sixth member, and then we just need one more to have a full complement. But you've all been terrific about trying to make sure we have a quorum, so I appreciate it. We've done the Pledge of Allegiance. This is public comment period. There being no members of the public with us at the moment, we will move on. We come to the consent agenda now. If you folks have had an opportunity to review the May 20th Golf Committee minutes, which was so ably prepared by Mike Sarajan, which we deeply appreciate. If there are any adjustments or modifications, please make them known to me at this point. Otherwise, I'll take a motion to approve the minutes.
Motion to approve, I didn't see anything.
So moved. Seconded?
Seconded.
Seconded. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay? The ayes have it, and the minutes are approved. Thank you. We'll now move on to the director's report. Roman, thank you so much for being with us today.
Absolutely, thank you very much for the opportunity. So we are in the middle of golf season now. The golf season has begun, the high season. We have such high demand at the golf course, and I'm really happy with the condition of the golf course. The way our staff's worked out, I think we're putting on a very good show for our customers right now. So I'll start by reading the superintendent's report, which is very brief, and that Sean Fernandez, our great superintendent, sent me this morning. So far, June has been cold and wet, which has helped the golf course conditions. We continue to do our daily maintenance for the prep of the heat of summer, which is on its way. Some projects that we are working on will be adding sand to the bunkers and prepping to pave some cart paths. As you all know, help and timing are key to getting things done, and we'll be trying to get as much done as possible. Also, we're trying to get some flowers and mulch out on the golf course starting next week. So very, very simple, short and sweet, and because he's a busy man. And so I appreciate his preparing a report for us.
Good.
They're doing a great job with the golf course. We just purchased a Toro Dingo, which is a little vehicle that's going to help us get sand on the golf course much better. So when it comes to filling sand in the bunkers, this will be key. And then going forward, each year we may purchase another add-on piece for that Dingo that's just going to allow it to do more for us.
Good.
But in the meantime, that's what we'll be doing this summer, is adding sand to the bunkers. And we'll do that right up until our big bunker renovation, which is scheduled until in FY29. Sean and I also had a meeting with the assistant town administrator based on procurement and to begin the big irrigation upgrade project. And that's right on schedule. So right now, what we're planning to do with that is we're planning to purchase in the new fiscal year, we're planning on purchasing the full inventory that we're going to need for parts for the system. Mm-hmm. And then we're going to go out to bid also just for the labor side of it. So what we'll do is we'll buy a big trailer for storage, and we'll purchase all the equipment. We'll hold that in the storage trailer down in maintenance. And then in August, I believe, is the timetable for going out to bid on the labor. And we hope to, if everything goes right, we get the bids in and they're all acceptable, we hope to break ground on that November 1st would be the date right now.
Is there an advantage to separating the acquisition of the materials from the labor?
Normally, if you do it all at once, they upcharge the materials. Okay. And so because the companies are on state contract, we can get them at a dirt cheap price on our own as municipality, so we're going to take advantage of that and then save some money.
Well, that's smart. That's great.
Yeah, no, I think so.
There might be a financial advantage.
And there is, and this plan's all been driven by Sean, and he's right
Good.
on. He's meeting with the three companies that provide this kind of service locally over the next few weeks, and we then just notifying them that we have a project coming up. We have a bid coming up, and to please bid on it.
Good.
Yeah.
Well, I was at the golf course. Did you have a question, by the way?
I
Looked like you were raising your hand.
I was gonna ask if there was any priority on which bunkers they were doing.
Yeah. So I mean, he
For this year?
Yes.
Yeah.
when we add sand to the bunkers and edge them, Sean knows the ones that need it the most. So yeah. So he prioritizes that based on need, and I'm not really sure what that. I haven't even got involved in what that is. I know he has a list.
Yeah.
But then the
11, the fairway bunker straight ahead that everybody drives into.
yeah, okay, yeah,
So,
oh yeah,
nut
sure.
cell in there, no sand.
All right, well, you'll see sand. You'll see sand upcoming.
I don't wanna see sand, I don't
No,
wanna.
you don't want to get anywhere near there.
Well,
Stay away
you'll
from
see
the
sand
sand.
from a distance.
Yeah.
Just use one less club.
There are some prominent.
I don't
There's,
aim anywhere near that.
it's funny. The golf course has some prominent bunkers that see a lot of action.
Yeah.
And hopefully, when the time comes to renovate them, we'll prioritize those bunkers, and maybe some of them like the bunker on that's just short of the third green that sees a lot of activity as well.
Yeah.
And the splash of sand that goes up on the green from that and up onto the fringe
Mhm.
really fries out all the turf. And so I know I was just talking to Sean casually the other day about the bunker project upcoming, and he'd like to see more flat bottom bunkers, all like that at Oakmont, so that you don't get those elevated lies where you throw a lot of sand up on the
Mhm.
green because it's bad for the turf.
Yeah.
Right. Well,
It's-
it's
it's-
bad for everything. It's just-
yeah, well,
There's some good rocks left in those.
yeah, there are, yeah.
Yeah, we need
Well-
some church pew bunkers.
Yeah,
my
I
God.
that was a
Wasn't
plan.
that something?
What a horse.
So I started to say Sunday, I did a double take because after I played my 9 holes, I went in to grab a little breakfast and sat at the counter. And in came Sean's twin.
His twin
I
brother.
didn't know he had a twin.
He does. Oh, they're funny too. They play to that as well. Like his brother will come in and act like he's Sean, and
Yeah.
they play up
I
to
would
the
totally
But there is a difference,
slight difference. Yeah.
a slight difference. I looked at him and I said, "Is that Sean?" And I said, "Oh, have a good day today. The course is in great condition." He says, "Oh, you think I'm my brother? I'm not. I'm his twin." I said, "No, I knew it wasn't him."
Well, you got lucky. The first time I met him was at Dunkin' Donuts right up here, and I just went on. Hey, Sean, hey, I'll see you back at the golf course. He said, "Yeah, he's all right, whatever."
He just went,
He let it alone.
Wow.
And then
And they're both Harwich natives too.
oh yeah, they are. Both went to UMass Amherst together. So based on the any questions on what I've already discussed?
No.
All right. Based on the feedback I've received from the members and guests and staff, we've had a culmination, a lot of the projects that I've announced here, a lot of the small stuff like the credit card reader upgrades and a lot of the door for the restaurant, a lot of things, little things like that have all come together to the point where the management team that I have at the golf course, which includes myself, Dick Fagan, our head pro, Mike Saragin, and the two superintendents, Rob Donovan and Sean Fernandez, we came to the agreement. This is probably the best condition the golf course has been in at this point in the season, and probably the best customer experience and customer value that we are providing. So I just wanted to go over a couple of things here, just to highlight that, how the culmination of these things has all come together. So our customer experience it was really designed to be set up for accommodation of the customer and customer convenience. So for range customers, when they come out, they find that large grass tee that's always well maintained, and a two putting green or two chipping green short game area, which is more than most of our competition has. They can purchase their balls directly at the range, which is a big deal, especially with the new upgraded machine. That's a much easier interface for them. And they can purchase those range baskets for up to a 50% discount if they buy our range card. They may pay directly at the machine with a credit card or range card. I found so many customers have really enjoyed that. They used to have to come all the way up to the pro shop and then go all the way down the range. There's a lot of walking, and it would kind of, if you only had 15 minutes to hit a bucket
Eats
of
up a lot
balls,
of time.
you choose not to do it, probably. So now they park right there. They go right down to the range, have their transaction nice and easy. Or they can purchase the range code at the starter shack or the pro shop. And with the two machines, we've seen a lot less waiting there. So I always kind of keep an eye on that to see, are there people in the queue and are people waiting in the machine? So that's all been wonderful. Also at the range, just for our lesson customers, they find a private lesson tee and with award-winning instruction. Bob Miller and his wife Lisa Ann have won numerous awards for their instruction. They're as good as we get on the Cape as far as golf instruction goes. And then the junior golf opportunities are wonderful as far as Monomoy Middle School, high school, boys, girls, JV, and varsity, all at our golf course. And then we're aligned with the flagship programs of the PGA and the USGA with the PGA's flagship program, PGA Junior League, and then with the USGA's flagship program, the First Tee, and Drive, Chip, and Putt. So, which is coming up in 2 weeks or so at the golf course. So, and the First Tee is coming up all summer. So, really good options for the kids. And Dick Fagan, our head pro, runs the PGA Junior League program. It's obvious to see how much the customers like that one as well, because out of a 16 league on this our part of the Cape with Blue Rock, Dennis, and Captains, and Cranberry Valley, we have 3 teams and they all only have 1. So that just shows how many kids, how many parents look to Cranberry Valley for their program.
That's great.
And then the public customers, they can book directly on the website, prepay and manage their tee times, and then self-cancel for a full refund within 48 hours. That's been wonderful for cutting down on the phone calls. I mean, so the golfers, they prepay, which is great for us, because our perfect day is the day that we come in and everything's prepaid for the day. And it's great for the customers as well, because they don't ever have to get into the frustration of getting on the phone, going through the whole phone system, and then asking for a refund. They can go ahead and get the refund right. They can manage it themselves and get their refund themselves directly outside 48 hours.
48. So can you kind of review that one more time?
Yes.
Because I just want to make sure I'm clear, because I did not know that you could book online
Oh, yeah.
up front.
All of our public tee times are available online, and so the administrator
And
that
how
we
far in advance? Do you say 48 hours?
no, so they can book
Cancel.
the entire year.
Oh,
out.
okay.
You could book in September or October right
Absolutely. Actually, it's 6 months. So early in the season challenges our fall a little bit, but 6 months out, and you can book all the way up till the day before play, and then you can cancel it within 48 hours. And that's been a wonderful change. We've worked really hard with our vendor, Golf Now, on that one. And
And can a Harwich resident participate in that too?
no, so the website, well, they can, but not if they want to get the Harwich rate. So that's what it's. There's all kinds of disclaimers on the booking engine that say if you want a discounted rate, you have to, or if you qualify for a discounted rate, you have to call the golf shop.
So you have to so you could do the same thing, but you have to call the golf shop in
Yeah.
advance. Okay.
Yes. And there's a separate parameter for them that that's within 2 weeks. So for booking a tee time of just Harwich residents at their resident rate, the booking window is 2 weeks. But that's been wonderful. So our customers they love booking online, and so when we come in the morning, we get a whole list of who's booked, what time they're booked, what they pay for. Did they pay with a cart, without a cart? And it's so simple. I mean, it's so simple. There's so many fewer transactions during
Sure.
very busy days.
Sure. Makes sense.
And they go right directly to the starter for the most part and check in for golf, and it's a very simple transaction. Is that all you had, Jay?
Yeah. I just
Okay.
want to make sure. I didn't know about that. That's
Yeah.
a great feature.
Oh, it's a great feature.
And
Particularly if you can
recorded with a better
handle the whole thing online. You
So,
book it, cancel it.
Yeah.
oh, I know. And that's a great benefit to them. A lot of the customers don't understand that, and so they learn the first time. But when they call, that they manage themselves their own tee time. If they want to cancel 1 player, 2 players, 3 players, whatever, they do that all on their own.
Mhm.
And there's no need to ever call the shop.
Great.
So when the golfers arrive, we've staged carts all over the place for them to make it more convenient. We always have a handful of carts right in front of the cart barn, so you can park directly there and drive a cart up if you'd like. We even put carts at the handicap spots for handicap people, so they pull into the handicap spot and there's a cart waiting for them right there. So that's very accommodating for them, and I know they appreciate it. Then the cart fleet we have is really top of the line as far as having GPS, USB, speakers, rain covers, all that good stuff. So I get a lot of feedback on that. The golfers love the carts, and the fact that they are all charged by solar power is even better. The fact that they're lighter with lithium batteries in them is great for the turf. And so, it all comes together that we have the lighter cart fleet, and guess what? The turf's probably the best shape it's been in.
Mm-hmm.
It's a contributing factor. And I'll tell you, here's one that's maybe the biggest positive feedback that we get this year is then I knew this would be good, but I didn't realize how good it would be. The complimentary warm-up bucket for the public rounds. I mean, that just goes so far. When we're charging them at the counter and then we get to tell them, oh, and here's the code for your complimentary round, the positive experience is unbelievable. It's so,
Even if they don't do it.
Right.
a lot of times they may not even do it, but I mean, the value added experience there, I mean, it's really created a lot of good customer experiences there.
And you're talking about the bucket,
Yeah, so
like
it's,
15 balls or something?
25, it's a warm-up bucket, 25 balls. And, I hate to tell anybody, I don't think anybody will be listening to the public. We charge them for it anyway, because remember, we went up in our rates $5.
Mhm.
So we went up in our rates $5, and that's what the warm-up bucket costs. So,
Mhm.
so now we give it to them complimentary, and what a great experience that is for them.
Good.
We get great feedback on that.
All good.
And then the 10-minute tee times. I mean, I'm still such a fan there, and I would never go back. COVID allowed us to go to 10-minute intervals. There's good space on the golf course. The golf course used to be a real challenge to keep up pace of play.
Mhm.
Now
It was 8 minutes?
It used to be 8. Yeah. I mean, that was such a challenge to keep up pace of play. Pace of play. Those 2 minutes per group just create so much space out there, and really, it's very rare that we have pace of play problems these days. Everything's under 4.5 hours.
Mhm.
Midday, later in the day, in the morning, it's all 4 hours and less.
Good.
And then then another COVID change where we opened this check-in kiosk at the starter shack for people just to check in, pay their fees. That's created so many good experiences in the pro shop now because, whenever we used to have to check in the pro shop, we never had time for the questions of people and all the phone calls, and if somebody comes and wants to buy a pair of shoes, wants to buy something,
Yeah.
they kind of had to self-serve themselves if it was a busy time of day. Now our staff in the pro shop has plenty of time to give attention to the customers. That's been one wonderful change as well, because it used to be a real factory in there, and now it's a place where we can give attention to our customers. And then to the annual pass holders, I think much of the same. So they get all those same benefits, but and they can purchase their annual passes online, mail them in, or in person. So we have the same thing, that accommodation. There's 3 different ways to pay. 60 to 70% of the tee times are reserved for them and distributed equitably. Boy, that Chelsea system, as much as people maybe not like using it, it's so fair. And it works every time there's a question about it. Whenever we dig into it, it always turns out, yeah, it worked correctly. It prioritized the correct people, and it distributes those times equitably every time.
Yep.
So that's really working well. The 5 weekly leagues that are run by a PGA professional expert in tournament operations, that's wonderful. For when I first started 10 years ago, the associations used to do all their own scorecard printing, all their own pairings, and so I think the fact it's all come under our umbrella, and then we can kind of control that, and it's all run by right now our head pro Dick Fagan, who's an expert in tournament operations. Unbelievable experience for our members playing in tournaments. And then I ran some numbers just on the customer value for our annual pass holders. So out of our approximately 44,000 rounds a year that we're doing, 23,500 of those are Harwich resident annual pass holders. And
Could you run that again?
Yep, I will.
44,000 rounds?
Yes, that's what we've averaged over the last few years since COVID, about 44,000 rounds a year. 23,436 of those were Harwich resident annual pass holders. And when you divide that by 782 annual passes sold in our last fiscal year, that's a 30-round average that each pass holder's getting. And they're getting that, so they're getting a $33.33 average per round. And if you look at Cranberry Valley, that is not a $33 golf course. So, I mean, there's great value there. And I'll mention that, I won't mention any names, but over 20 of our Harwich resident annual pass holders played over 100 rounds, and one played 169 rounds, leading the league.
169?
Yeah, so getting about $5 a round, a little over $5 a round. average.
Amazing.
That's almost every day.
Oh yeah,
It would have to be, maybe more than once a day.
and I'll
Oh,
keep.
they're good.
And so
Yeah,
for
What's the
non-residents,
handicap?
yeah, no, it doesn't. They're enjoying their golf, but they're not getting any better. So then the non-resident rounds for annual pass holders were about just under 8,000, and you divide that by the 311 passes sold. They played, so the non-resident annual pass holders played about 25 and a half rounds average, and that was a $53.33 average cost per round. So it's a good value there as well, especially for the non-residents of Harwich that don't have never had to support the golf course other than purchasing their annual pass.
I played with a guy Sunday who was from Brewster, but he preferred to join. He's a pass holder here.
Oh,
He's a
yeah.
non-resident pass holder.
Yeah, we have many
He
of
said,
them.
I'll play here more than I would over there.
Interesting.
Yeah, we get a lot of
Pretty
that.
good golfer, too.
We get a lot of that. We get a lot of kind of people that like to jump too. Let's see what Dennis is like, and it's a real it's a real environment for customers to kind of go out and see what they want. I know some golfers that don't like the Chelsea system, don't like how busy Creamery Valley are. They may prefer captains because in the afternoon there's nobody out there and you have 2 open courses. But more often than not, we end up seeing the people coming back. So, and then we do have a small league that plays on Sundays that are annual pass holders at maybe 2 courses. They're Harwich residents and they get their Harwich annual pass at Creamery Valley, but they also do something additionally so they can manage their points at Creamery Valley. So they all get out on their Sunday morning unofficial league.
Mhm.
And during the week, if they play at the other golf course. So I think it's smart. There's something for everybody. And then as far as young adult rounds, collegiate rounds, and junior rounds, each one of those annual passes all were just under 1,000 about for how many were sold. And for young adults, their average per round was $31. Collegiate was $15, and juniors $16. So we are seeing a lot of good value at the golf course. The people that are playing it, it's a top-notch golf course, great conditioning, and they're loving it. All told, in that last fiscal year that I've looked at was 43,988 total rounds, and with the 34,080 annual passes sold, pass holder rounds played, that meant Harwich annual pass holders played 77% of the rounds. So it's truly the Harwich golf course, and that's a model we pursued when it comes to rates and fees, is to keep it a good value for the Harwich residents in all the different categories, and then make it a real premium experience for others to help foot the bill. And it's all on a golf course that was ranked number 8 public access in Mass by Golf Week magazine last year. So
What was the rating again?
number 8 public access golf course in Mass, but that's by Golf Week. That's one of the real, truly official rankings. And that's all the good news. I did have a bit of bad news I want to share. We lost a core member of our seasonal staff last week named John Spellman. He's a member of our crew of guys that are affectionately known as the cart guys, that wash the carts and clean the balls. They're the real back of the house guys. And the reason I want to mention it is our staff's really hurting on this one. John was probably he was one of the first guys I hired when Dick and I started here in 2015. And he was a real core member of the staff. We rehired him back this year. Didn't feel that well, and we sent a staff-wide get well card to him that his wife told us he read and gave him a nice moment before he passed.
Oh,
But,
that's nice.
Yeah, so if senior members of our staff, I'd ask, be a little kind, because John was a true gentleman and was the kindest guy. Even if you didn't get to know him, I'm sure if you ever saw him, he showed you some kindness. Real gentleman.
Yeah, he was a character. I had a card, brought it back. He was just chatty, personable. He left something in the card. Said, "Hey, you go."
I'm glad you had experience with him, because that's the kind of guy he was. And he wasn't very outgoing as far as, he came to work to have a good attitude and do his work, and he had that real old school work ethic where he put his head down and did his job, and in 10 years he never showed up with a bad attitude. Great
Nice.
attitude. We're ready to work every day.
So he worked a number of years for the course.
10 years, yeah, 10 years as seasonal. Many of those, he was one of the first wave of people we hired back, and one of the last guys that we let go at the end of the year. So,
And he's a Harwich resident?
No, he lives in Centerville. I
Centerville.
knew him, and from my previous job, he was a member at the Barnesville Golf Course. That's
Got
why
it.
I worked there. But great guy, and our staff's really hurting over that one.
I'm sure. They get close.
Yeah, very close.
That's good.
And you know, it's funny that little group of guys that we call the cart guys, really, it's a neat neat environment for them because we have a lot of high school kids that come through every year, college kids that come through every year, and he and the other guys that are veterans really take a mentorship attitude, and it'd be a great place for a young person to come work because they'll learn work from these
Yeah.
guys and they learn how to do it, how to show up every day and how to work hard and how to have a good time while you do it. That's all I had for you, Paul, under that one.
Thank you. Any questions of what Roman has presented to us? It really sounds terrific, and the customer experience positive sharing that you shared with us, it's really making a difference. A lot of the upgrades you've done and, you know, the IT stuff, it's just made it a more user-friendly place.
That's what we've tried to do, yeah.
Yeah.
And all the little stuff, like I know I've mentioned here that we're at ghostwriting that, but when you look at the full view, it's all come together and to a very good customer experience.
That's great.
Yeah, I just have one question. This is just feedback from the guys I play with in the leagues. I think they understand why the trees were cut down on 13,
Yeah.
but now the question is, you know, when are they gonna finish the job?
Yeah.
So.
So I mean, the whole story is the reason that they were cut down. That turf was really bad there, and everything inside the car path part of the golf course we wanted to take out because that will improve the turf, improve the airflow there, improve the sunlight there. And then I think I mentioned also we had a situation where we tried to get an ambulance out and the path wasn't wide enough to get one out there because of those little pine trees all squeezing it in. So those are the reasons we did it. Now, and I mentioned, or Sean mentioned in his report that we're preparing for paving. So we'll go through from 12 green all the way to 14T. That it's our next paving project. It'll be a nice wide 7-foot path there that'll accommodate an ambulance if we need to. And we'll have much better turf. To answer your question of when, we have a stump grinder that we share with the Public Works Department. So we've already requested that. And that'll be in probably the next few weeks. And Sean has planned to grind those and loan them, and it'll be like they were never there. And, you know, then one reason also, another reason to get those out of there is the root intrusion on the car paths was why those paths were really tough there as well. So when they prep for paving, they'll get rid of all those roots as well. They'll pull up all the old pavement and get rid of the roots.
And just a final note, the new door is great. I can't really remember what the other one looked like. I just knew it was kind of flimsy.
Didn't look anything like that, but
No, but
it looks
this,
great now.
this one fits right in, and it's
That's great feedback.
a good solid door, so it's.
That's great feedback.
It's going to stand up
It works so much better, and
a lot better.
the vendor that we used said, "You're not going to call me for 10 years. I'll give you 10 years where I don't even have to touch that door. It's going to work great." And I was worried a little bit about changing kind of the look of it, but I feel the same as you mentioned. So it's good feedback to hear that you.
Yeah, I don't remember what the old one looked like.
Well, the idea that our town facility manager Sean Livy had shared with me was he's so happy with the way it came out to do that one on the other side of the deck, where the waitresses use that to deliver food
Go out the back.
and out the back, and then to change all the other doors that we don't use. We basically have tables up against them in the windows. You don't see those all as windows, just to help secure the building, because he thinks that could be a security risk right there, those doors, because they are fairly flimsy. But that's his vision going forward. But thanks for the good feedback, because I felt the same, but it's always good to hear it from a different perspective.
Yeah, I had a couple things too, Roman.
Yes.
So Sunday, I think it was Sunday, there was some garbage like pulled out on 10 and 11. So the animals must have got in, and it's just kind of spread around. Is there any reason why the guys can't get out there at the end of the day, the night before, to make sure those garbages are empty?
Yeah, they can. Okay, so right now the way that works is the morning. So what our maintenance crew does is they do what they call a mow and go every day. They don't do a full shift. So on weekends and holidays right now, they do what they call a mow and go, where they show up at 5 and they're done by about 8 in the morning. That's all on overtime. So that's the shift to where you'll see the guys go by, sweep the golf course, make sure that all the garbage put away.
Yeah,
At the end of the night, we don't really have staff to do it,
Okay.
but
Yeah, because there's the, that
yeah,
was up
that's
to 12,
raccoon. Yeah, it's
so-
raccoon definitely.
Yeah, guaranteed it's an animal, you know, I'm sure people aren't throwing their garbage in.
Well, hopefully you played this like the first tee time. By the time our crew came by, they cleaned it up.
Well, I picked it up on 10, you know, because it wasn't that much. But when I got to, I was like, oh my gosh, no, I need a rake.
All right. Yeah, so our maintenance crew, we do have a guy that goes through and does all the trash first thing in the morning. Hopefully,
Thought I'd
we
bring it
try
up.
to. Yeah, please,
Yeah.
please give me any feedback you can, because if it's ever anything big, we can go by in the evening, have our cart guys do it. But
Right.
they're usually pretty busy. We don't schedule staff to do that at the end of the night.
And the other question I had was on 16. So 16, and I know the group I play with plays from that family tee,
Yeah.
and a lot more people I think are playing from that
I
family tee.
think
They
so.
don't want to go back to the
Right.
tees in the back. So I
Right.
was just wondering if there was ever any thought of trying to move the women's and senior tees up a little bit to either behind where the green is or the
So
green
what
tees or.
what tees do you normally play? You normally play the whites and then put
Well,
it
if
on
I'm
that.
playing with those guys and there's nobody else playing white, I'll hit with them
Yeah.
because it takes too long to walk back and I don't want to hold them up. They play slow enough.
Yeah.
Instead of I can't.
You'll hit from the family tee.
Yeah, I'll hit from the family tee on that hole to keep the pace of
And
play.
what is that? Is that gray or green?
It's green.
That's a green tee. Yeah.
You come off 15 and it's right there. So it's very convenient. And the senior tees are back on the levels
Yeah.
with the women's tees. And
Right.
then sometimes the men's tees, I like the men's tees lower, but they're usually up high in the back. And again, to me, that hole is a 4.5 par,
Yeah, it
no
is.
matter what,
It is.
right? Whereas what is it? The par 5 is a 4.5.
I was going to tell you.
Par 4 is a 4.
So when I spoke with Mark
He's gonna
Mondramar,
give you a hard
Yeah,
time.
exactly.
when I spoke with Mark Mondramar, architect, that's exactly what he said. He said those holes, that hole has a feature of a long par 4, but the 14th has all the features of a long par or short par 5,
Right.
and he looks at those as perfect because they're both they even each other out about par 4.5 each.
Yeah, I mean, it's impossible, if you play, for me, to play the back and be up on that upper tee, I can't get there in 2. There's no way I can get there in 2. It's just not possible, for me at this point. So,
Right.
I think I'm an okay golfer, but you gotta really have a big poke.
Oh yeah, no, it's a healthy hole.
16
It's
to get there.
definitely a big hole.
Right.
I think, I mean, the golf for me, I love to use that, and I would definitely feel free to use that whenever you can. I think that the golf pro me will tell you you're not entitled to necessarily reach every green in 2. So sometimes you don't.
Right,
and you
no,
gotta-
no.
and you got to figure it out. I
Again,
mean,
it's not a complaint, it's about, you know, what's going on, but the whole point I'm trying to make is if the seniors are all playing if a lot more people are just going to the green tee,
right.
you know, doesn't that kind of dictate that maybe there's a change that should be made
There
in the
could be.
future?
We're looking at so in 2027, we are due to be re-rated by Mass Golf.
Okay,
And at that time, we would look into that stuff because I mean, really, you can play wherever you want to.
Yeah.
But if you post your score, you want to post the score from the tee set you played
Yeah.
from.
right.
And so, you know, that'd be a rating issue if you were necessarily
Yeah.
into posting your score and using your handicap in tournaments.
I don't quite understand exactly how to post the score anyway, because I know there's a mass,
Yes.
you could go load it up, but don't you have to pay like $50 more
Yes.
on your fee to get that? So,
So you pay that directly with Mass Golf.
Right,
It's
exactly.
$55. Yeah.
yeah.
And it can be, you know, if you're ever going to play in a tournament, that'll be required of you to have something like that for a tournament or a league.
Yeah,
But it's also good for tracking your own progress, you know.
right,
Because when golfers say, "Hey, what are you?"
yeah. I have it all on my watch, and my watch goes to my phone, so I mean, I have it.
Okay.
I'm not gonna pay $50 to.
Yeah, they basically ask you what, you played Prairie Valley, did you play the whites, did you play the
Yeah.
silvers? And so you kind of profile
But
yourself.
you get other features in addition to the actual handicap. I mean, you know, they give you a lot of news and information.
Oh, you're a member of Mass
Yeah,
Golf.
yeah.
Yeah. You join Mass Golf, so you get the Mass Golf newsletter.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I think it's worth it.
Yeah. We obviously have a lot of people that take advantage of it.
Any other questions of Roman? Okay, we're going to turn to new business. going to discuss the annual pass sales and, well, actually, we sort of had a lot of the rounds played, right?
Yes.
You got that.
So, you know, take a look at those documents, let me know what you see. My feedback is it's amazing how we're like right on par every year with the same numbers. But, we're trending towards that same 44,000 rounds, I believe right now.
Yeah.
And, which is good because we've battled some really tough weather with the 13 straight Saturdays of rain and you know, we've had some weather difficulties, so.
Do we,
I think we're trending directly where we've always been, 44,000 rounds.
do we see pass sales even into June and July, late June and July?
For the most part, no. So that's pretty much done for this year. Is
You get a couple of stragglers here and there.
well, right now what we get is we get more juniors,
Yeah.
junior memberships because they get out of school and
Yeah.
the mom and dad come down and buy them an annual pass. But for the most part, we do know we're done with the adults. Well, we always, as Paul said, we'll get a few stragglers, but not much. And the annual pass sales were right on, pretty much what they were last year.
The rounds were down in 2019. Is that the year of the tornado?
Yes. So 2019, they were down, and that was the tornado.
That was tornado summer?
You'll find the tornadoes impact right in July. If you take a look at the July month,
Oh, yeah.
that was 2,000 to 3,000 down, and from the past.
Tore right through the course.
Oh, I mean, so midsummer we were dead closed for 2 weeks. That was spooky. It was a really strange feeling to be
No
closed
kidding.
at the end of July. And we had one of the Mass Golf major tournaments scheduled. The Mass Golf Junior Girls Championship for the state was scheduled in that time. They had to pivot and have the Ridge Club host it instead because we couldn't provide a safe environment with all the loose limbs on trees and all.
Yeah, I was looking at the rounds in July and August, and they're such prime months, understandably, but that's a lot of activity.
I mean, it's unbelievable. That yeah, we
22, they had over 9,000.
That's right.
Crazy.
We get to
9,420.
Yeah, and
Because that was the,
that was the COVID year.
Pandemic,
Where
that was
everybody stopped
COVID.
playing
playing.
golf was the only thing you could do in those days. Yeah, and if you look at 9,400 rounds, you know, like private clubs like Wiano or something like that, they do like 11,000 rounds a year. So we did in that 1 month what they do
1
in
month.
the average year.
amazing.
But I'm very happy with where it is. We could be higher in rounds, you know, if we were at the 8-minute tee times, but we wouldn't have the experience that we're having currently. So I think it's all part of kind of finding that sweet spot. We're limited. I don't know exactly how many, you know, what our ceiling is. I haven't figured that out. Based on if we sold every tee time with the 10-minute intervals, what would it be? Probably 50,000, mid 50,000s or something. But we're close. But we're close to maximizing the golf course, which is what I'm always trying to do.
Absolutely. It's a good balance right now.
Yeah, it's a
And
great
the course
balance.
is just in beautiful shape.
It's in
It's outstanding.
phenomenal. It was in great shape last year. It's even better now.
Yeah, and so you know, I think I mentioned this. Sean Fernandez, who's a local historian, also on especially on anything golf course related, he said it's in the best shape it's ever been in
Yeah.
for this time of
He
year.
would know.
So yeah, I'm very happy with the rounds played and the annual passes. I mean, we're right kind of where we have been. And one category we look at with those that I didn't put on this sheet here is what are new annual passes sold. How many new ones are like for each category? New Harwich or new non-resident. And we're right where we always are with that too. We get about 100 new. We lose that 100, and we get around 100 new people every year for various reasons. So. We've got our tee time, our tee sheet set up kind of for this formula, where if we had a big spike to all the way up to 1,400 rounds, I would, I'm sorry, 1,400 annual passes sold, I'd maybe adjust the distribution and say, right now, the annual pass holders get 60% of the weekday rounds, 70% of the weekday tee times and 60% of the weekend. We can always adjust that based on passes sold. But the fact that we're right on where we have been for the past few years, I don't recommend changing anything. Any questions on that data?
Very good. Thank you.
Tournaments.
Hey, do you want to discuss tournaments next, Paul? That's the
That'd be
next thing
great.
on the agenda. Okay, great. So, our tournaments have been going very well. The Mass Am qualifier that we had was on June 2nd. That was kind of one of the really truly big tournaments that we wanted to show off the golf course for. So Sean Fernandez and his crew, they double cut and rolled the greens. So if you played right around there, you may have found some creepy, speedy greens.
Mm-hmm.
And then as I discussed with some appeal here, and I sent out an email to all of our pass holders last week as well. We had to do some extra maintenance last week, where we're normally on Wednesdays our extended maintenance day, where our staff has time to we do no back nine play on Wednesdays, and we start on the first tee an hour later. So on Wednesdays 7:00 a.m. is the first tee time instead of 6, and there's no back nine play. That allows our maintenance crew to get out and do some of the big stuff. They have to do poke holes in the course. They aerate, they top dress, they do all that. So we had to do a second day of that just to kind of aerate the greens. We didn't pull cores, which is the big aeration. We used a solid tine in the greens, which we do about once a month or once every couple months in the summer, because of the stress the greens were under by double cutting and rolling them for that tournament.
Yeah.
We had to relieve a little bit of that stress. And so once again, our maintenance crew was right on top of it with preventive maintenance. There were no problems whatsoever. They just wanted to get ahead of things there and
Good.
set us up for a good summer. So that was a great tournament. And for Mass Golf, the person that ran the event was, I don't know if any of you crossed paths. I know you probably did, Paul, with John Crook on the committee.
Oh, yeah.
John's a member of the executive committee with Mass Golf, and he's in charge of tournaments. And so it was kind of fun. He came down to Cranberry Valley and ran that event for Mass Golf, and I got great feedback from him that he said the course is in the best shape he's ever seen it.
He was a member of the committee for a number of years.
Yeah, he was for a number of years. And then we had the one thing the committee supported also was the CCK Invitational, and if you remember that one, that was on May 30th. I recommended hosting them as an event of just one pass holder and all of his friends, 104 friends of his, and they were going to pay top dollar. It was a wonderful event. We didn't know what we were going to get, so it was all 20 and 30 something year olds doing a shotgun. We've never done a shotgun that wasn't for a charity, and people, over 100 people paying the full rate, and it was a huge success. They'd love to do it again next year. Then they supported the pro shop wonderfully. They supported the restaurant wonderfully. It was good all around. So it was good for the full operation. I asked Sean the day after if there was any undue damage on the golf course. He said no. He said it seems like it was all very appropriate.
So just a member approached you and said, I want to do this
Yeah.
with 100 friends?
He's done in the past, so he's an event that's grown. He used to reserve to 40 tee times, and then he went all the way up to 60 last year, and he said, I could fill a shotgun. And I kind of tried to talk him out of it. I said, well, we would need 100 people to do that. And he said, I'll get you 100. What else you got?
That's
and
awesome.
I said, well, they have to pay full rate. I can't negotiate for any lower rate. And he said, okay, we'll do it. What
Done.
else? What else do I need to do?
That's great.
Yeah, man.
So, and then he
I hope they went into the Jakes too.
Yeah.
the noise level was loud. Let me tell you that. There were a lot of them in there. And CC, who was the bartender beverage server that morning, said she made about 100 transfusions, which is the new trendy drink that all the young people drink.
Oh my God.
Before they teed off.
30-year-olds.
100 before they teed off. Hey, I don't know if these guys are veterans or what. They were no worse for wear. They all looked great. They acted appropriately. They were very good with our staff. And
Nice.
to me and all of our staff that worked there, they all said, hey, what a great group, because it
That's
was
great.
positive energy all around. It was really good. And so that was a new event on the calendar. Wasn't really sure about it. I'll recommend doing it again next year.
Why not?
That's some
Absolutely.
money.
Is it sponsoring something?
No, it's not.
It's just a. You just got to know this guy.
Yeah, right. You want
What
in?
What does the CCK stand for?
I don't even know. His last name's Keenan. His name's Danny Keenan, and he's
I
just.
don't know if I have 100 friends.
I don't. I wouldn't. But no, they've done this tournament, and he has a big group of friends. They're all from Boston. They all end up on the Cape in the summer,
Sure.
and
That's a great idea.
just was a great time. Great day at the golf course. And I was a little bit hesitant to do it at first, but I wouldn't be hesitant to have him back.
Tell them 150 next year.
And we don't have that many cards, so. But then upcoming events, we have a big day. June 30th is our big junior super day where the New England PGA Junior Tours at the golf course, and our drive, chip, and putt will be at the event will be at the driving range. I have not had to go out for a general call for volunteers for that because we have the same dedicated group of volunteers who wants to do it every year, and so normally I get great feedback when I go to the annual pass holders and ask for volunteers. I haven't had to. This group loves doing it, and they reach out to me and say, "Boy, we want to do it again. Count me in." So that'll be a good event on June 30th, the drive to qualifier. Hopefully, we send somebody to Augusta National because that's the first step in qualifying to end up at Augusta National.
And they're both taking place on that 30th of June, huh?
The first time we've done that, yes, sir. So the first time we've done them both together, they're both events we have, but we've held them separately. It was the idea of the New England PGA to do them together. They send the same team down to run both events, so why not? And then the other big thing I think you'll notice on the event calendar, we've had a lot of events, especially in May, but we're about to go into just general play time, which is in the summer we try to keep the tournament schedule very light, and because knowing that all of our pass holders are down here,
Yeah.
and so in the month of July we have nothing. We have one mass golf men's team event that doesn't even have a date yet. They're going to schedule a little block of tee times, but very low impact. The Junior Golf Association of Cape Cod will play in July on July 8th, and then we get right back into our and then our Cranberry Valley Women's Golf 9-hole group. They play one of their special events at the end of July as well, but they do that right in their regular back 9 block on a Tuesday morning, so no change in impact there. So we're about to go into a time period where very few events and a lot of just general play. And then September, as you can see, is a busy month. So when we get to September, it'll be right back to busy tournament schedule.
But you really work hard to preserve pass holder access by scheduling tournaments on the slower days, right?
Without a doubt, yes, sir. So yeah, so we try not to have any special events. Well, we will continue having our league play, but our leagues we ask them to step aside the week of July 4th, just because that's such a demanding week that we don't hold any leagues that week. Just because if we have 1,280 pass holders, they're all here. They all want to play golf that week.
Exactly.
So it makes no sense to sell extra tee times or have events or anything. We just try to accommodate all of our regular customers. Any questions about the tournament schedule?
No? Any questions of Roman?
Just how we get into Keeney's group.
Yeah.
Right, Candace Grove.
Sounds like a good party.
How do you get a tea time on July 4th weekend?
Yeah.
Well, there is an answer to that, and some of our annual pass holders have found it. If you have guests coming to town, or even if you just have your regular foursome and you want to pay, and so one member can play for free in a non-member tea time. So we do see people do that at the 4th of July, or whatever really attractive date they want to play. They'll get together and say, okay, between us we'll split 3 greens fees, and they can book 9 o'clock 4th of July in January, February, March, whenever they want to. So we do see some of our annual pass holders doing that, saying,
Yeah.
even though I have my annual pass holder, I want to play that certain date, and I'm going to secure the tea time right now.
Gotcha.
Well, in the old
So they're
days,
paying up front, basically.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
way back when, you used to be able to book the tee times that you wanted all summer, if you're willing to pay for them, on January 1st.
I've heard stories.
And
I've heard stories.
people would stay in the circle right near the clubhouse all night long. They'd have a camper or
They
something.
have campers. I heard they all went all the way out to Oak
Zeppelin
Street.
concert.
Yeah, I know. I heard they went all the way out to Oak Street, all the way down the driveway.
No way.
Yeah, and the rumor is, I don't know how true this is because I was not there for this, but the rumor is that the hotels would show up with a big wad of cash and say, here's for our tea times.
Yeah.
And lay down
Grab them
one.
all.
Oh, yeah, I think that was happening too. All right, well, this is good. This is all positive and all good. And is there anything that folks want to bring up while we have a moment for the good of the order?
No, I'm all set. Had my questions answered, so I'm fine.
All right. We are scheduled to meet, I think, on the 15th of July. I want to double check that date. Just give it to you so you can book it in. July 15th, I believe, is our next meeting. It's Tuesday. Yep.
Same
Here in
time?
this room, 4 to 6 on the 15th. By then, we might have our 6th member, I hope. And I'll also give you a heads up that I think we may skip a meeting in August. Because selfishly, I'll be traveling on business the week of our normal meeting. And unless there's something unusual that requires us to meet, we may just
You
skip it.
insist.
And we'll come back in September.
Sounds good.
So we'll have August off and not have to worry about that. So that's great. Well, thank you all very much. Absent anything further, I'll take a motion to adjourn. So moved. Seconded. All those in
Second.
favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. The ayes have it, and the Harwich Golf Committee meeting is adjourned.
Beautiful.
Thank you all.